If you think I look bad, you should see the other guy. Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation. I recently reviewed the Marvel Legends Magic the Gathering themed Spider-Man. Today is going to be a showcase of assorted head swaps. Mainly this video is for those who want to see other mask options on this battle damaged body, or how the battle damaged head looks on other Spider-Men. Originally I was going to include the head swaps in the main video, but the more I kept adding, the more clear it became that it really just needed to be its own thing. Just to get it out of the way though, I can't do any swaps with Ultimate Spider-Man. Because of the size difference, there is just no way the pegs can fit. With that out of the way, let's kick things off with Pizza Spidey. The lack of battle damage aside, this is a pretty solid bug-eyed option. It could be argued that this head is ever so small for this body, but the red and the web lines match up much better than I expected. The nice thing about Pizza Spidey is that alternate partially unmasked head. One of the criticisms I saw of the battle damaged figure is the lack of any kind of exposed face, and not only does this head kind of compensate for that, something about him grinning while being this beat up is kind of off-putting. But in a fun way. Alternately, and you'll find that the battle-damaged head is a little bit loose on the Pizza Spidey neck peg. For me though, it's more about seeing this head on this body. It scales well and really gets the idea across. Oftentimes for Pizza Spidey, I suggest the Hobgoblin Wave Ben Reilly as a substitute. It's hard to tell on camera, but the red for Ben Reilly is a little bit cooler. Up close you can tell, but just on your shelf and you'll never notice. Just like Pizza Spidey, this head looks great on this body, so that gives you a nice option too. If you're having a good time so far, do me a favor and give this video a big ol' like. As I said in my review, I feel like the closest match of the battle damaged figure is actually Retro Card Spider-Man. That's because of the shape of the eyes, the web pattern, and the shade of blue. As such, that Retro Card head looks very natural here. If you were doing figure photography and you wanted to have one Spider-Man go through a progression of damage, I think this is the swap for you. There is a slight difference between the hues of red, but nothing you can really notice. Recall also that the Retro Card comes with this additional head too. I don't know that the eyes are that different, but it does provide a little bit of variety. I'm curious, do any of you out there actually use this head for anything? Sound off in the comments. Other way around, and the brighter red of the battle damaged head is a bit more noticeable against the rest of the Retro Card body. Again, I'm not sure how many people are going to want the battle damaged head on a regular body, but I do feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't show you. Once again, the more important swap is the battle damaged head on the regular body. Personally, I feel it scales better here than on the Pizza Spidey bodies, but Retro Card led to Renew Your Vows, which led to battle damage, so that does make sense. On the subject of the Retro Card, and here's where having Ben Reilly really comes in handy. The red on Ben is just a perfect match, meaning that if you wanted to use the battle damaged head, this is going to look much better. Do be warned though that for whatever reason, this head is pretty loose on this peg. And hey, we're having fun here, so let's bring out that alien-headed Beyond Ben Reilly. He's called Beyond Ben Reilly because he's plant-based. And yikes! Take me to your leader. I'm not saying he's got a big head, but the story goes that he drowned in a lake at summer camp when he was a kid, and now he stalks teenagers in the woods with a hockey mask and a machete. Still, the beat-up head looks good on the Beyond body, but once again, that's to be expected. Next up, and for one of the big ones, here we have Renew Your Vows. For a bug-eyed head on a battle-damaged body, this configuration just makes the most sense. Not only are all the proportions the same, the colors and webs match up as well. One of the best things about Renew Your Vows is it comes with this unblemished Peter Parker head. No, not in the face! This creates a whole extra option we haven't seen so far. It also makes me feel the need to make an addendum to my original video. Someone commented that the battle damaged head seems to take more of its cues from this head than the Maximum one, and I have to agree. And speaking of the battle damaged head, it looks perfect on the Renew Your Vows body. Again, all the same proportions, so it just works. And while this head is smaller and the eyes are more narrow, you can make this work too. With your blessing, I'm going to go out of release order for just a moment and jump straight to the animated series 2-pack version. Because this one was made on the Sunfire mold, the proportions are just very similar to Renew Your Vows. The webs and reds are also spot on. This combination is probably the closest we're ever going to get to a battle damaged animated Spidey. Although now that they've tooled all these new parts, who knows? We might end up getting this body in every Spider-Man costume. If we don't though, here's how that Peter head looks. A lot of you pointed out in my Spider-Man 77 head swap video that the animated Peter was based off Nicholas Hammond, and I gotta tell you, now that you've said it, I cannot unsee it. For one, that's a lot of people's favorite, and here we have the Amazing Friends 3-pack. This head is a little bit small for this body, but if you're determined to make it work, the webs and reds are enough of a match. This head being slightly bigger doesn't really stand out as much. Once again, and those narrow eyes come in handy. Just be warned, it's looser than Mary Jane. For the streets! Understanding the size difference, I still think this works okay. At some point though, I really do hope that we get some Peter Parker heads specially scaled for this body. In the meantime, I'm happy enough. Keep in mind, it's the same body as Amazing Fantasy 15, so if you really liked how that head looked on this body, you can get away with this too. For another really important one though, and here we have Maximum Spider-Man. Your mileage may vary, but I don't think the webbing looks too bad this time. In general, this figure has the webbing more tightly packed. The bigger concern for me is that this head might be just a bit too small. Just like Renew Your Vows though, and Maximum Spider-Man does have an unblemished Peter Parker head. It might not be my favorite Peter Parker head, but it does scale okay, and I still think it's close enough to the battle damaged head that you could get away with it. With that in mind, the battle damaged head looks great on the Maximum body. Maximum is slightly smaller, but the proportions are still okay, and this to me is just quintessentially 90s Spidey. With all this talk of unmasked Peter Parker heads, we might as well bring out Peter Parker himself. I didn't expect the skin tones to match as well as they do, and yeah, this just looks like Peter Parker out and about after a Spider-Man scrape. Definitely a fun option. Veering into video games, and here we have that first Gamerverse release. There's enough of a difference in the reds that I didn't think this was going to work, but I'm totally wrong. Gamerverse was built off the Sunspot body, which was the progenitor of this one, so the proportions work well, and the eyes are similar enough to the battle damage one that you could use this as a non-battle damaged option. Even this way around, and the differences in the reds are hardly noticeable. As has been the case though, this head is a little bit loose on this peg. Still, for a figure I don't bring out that often, I'm surprisingly pleased. And of course, I'm very pleased with how this looks. Who knows if we'll ever get a Marvel Legends Gamerverse Peter Parker head, but in the meantime, I'm more than happy with the ones we do have. For the Spider-Man 2 version though, and I need to stress that this is a bootleg, and that red is way too bright to make this combination work. Unfortunately, without the official release, I can't speak to just how accurate the bootleg colors are. I just know that this one is too bright for this combo. The battle damaged head on this body works just fine, however. It's also a surprisingly snug fit. That's what she said! For a non-Peter Parker mask option, and here's the Gamerverse upgraded suit Miles Morales. I'm not going to bother with the battle damaged head because again, it's Miles, not Peter, just sitting on your shelf, and this doesn't look half bad. Under close scrutiny though, you can see that there is a texture in the fabric and that the webs are sculpted. Switching over to live action, and that's going to be the same case with the Tom Holland final swingsuit. At a glance and from a distance, it actually looks really good, but once again, the devil is in the details, and this one might be just a bit too detailed for some. Concordantly, and this head is way too different for this body. Not only is the red way too dark and rich, but here the lack of texture and sculpted webbing is what stands out. I'm sorry, concordantly? Who do you think you are? The architect? In fairness, I know there are those who like this figure so much they use it as their main display Spidey, and while the head might be a little big for the body, I think you could get away with it, similar to Amazing Fantasy 15. One live-action Spidey we won't have that problem with is Nicholas Hammond. No textures or raised webbing to get in the way this time. I'm not really sure if anybody would want to do this combo, but it's still nice to know that you can. And if you also like the idea of using this body as a more retro Ditko era version, you'll be happy to know that this combo works too. With that in mind, it's one time those narrower eyes really does work to its favor. The battle damaged head fits really nicely on this body too, and unlike some of the configurations we've looked at, is nice and snug. Lastly, and I want to close out with some black costume Spider-Man. The Kraven's Last Stand 2-pack included a battle damaged Peter head, but a lot of people missed out on that, me included. It's a great opportunity to see how this this one would look instead. First up, and here we have the Sandman Wave version. It was built off the Pizza Spidey buck and is pretty much the same as the one that comes in the Kraven 2-pack. If you already had this and skipped out on the 2-pack, this head is a great substitute. In fact, I'd go so far as to say it probably looks better than the Kraven one. Next up is the Retro Card version. Because the proportions are the same as the battle damage one, this scales really well. In general, this is pretty much my go-to black costume Spidey, so this head makes for a nice add-on. While Retro Card might be my personal go-to, I cannot understate just how awesome the Secret Wars version is. This is the same body as Amazing Friends and Amazing Fantasy 15, so we already know it's gonna scale just fine. To my eye, these proportions really capture that pre-McFarlane early 80s Spidey. For the last swap of the day, and here we have the Gamerverse version. It might not be as articulated as some of us would like, but the extra detail makes it a great match for figures like the King and Black Venom, and all the extra battle damage detail really pulls it together. Which combination was your favorite, and were there any I didn't do that you would have liked to have seen? Tell me everything in the comments below, and for more Spider-Man videos, check out one of these. Until next time, play nice and have fun. And while this head is smaller and the eyes are narrower,